Hello, San Francisco, and welcome once again to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, Black August. I am not going to try and appear as though I'm some historian for Black America, but I found, or by reading something I don't know about 5, 6 years ago, of the story behind Black August. And what upset me was, how did it take me so long to learn about this? Black August started in 1970, and it was way 2010 or later that I found out about it. And though it had something to do with a commemoration of all those black people who have fought and died um, for betterment for black folks here in America. But the fact that uh, almost nobody knows about it or celebrates it in black America, yeah, that's a hard one for me to understand. I have to say that I am no fan of Black History Month. Um, Carter G. Woodson the, came up with Black History, well, Black History Week, or whatever it was, in 1927, and evolved into what we celebrate today as Black History Month. But this black historian, he said that he wanted it to be temporary. He said it should be temporary. Well, we've been celebrating it 90 years, and in my personal opinion, 90 years does not denote temporary. His reason for creating Black History Week, or what we now celebrate as Black History Month, was simple. He noticed, as a historian, there was not much black references to uh, the accomplishments that we have made in our history books. Not many mentioned, not many things were mentioned. But he said that after we get up to speed, we should just be a part of all of America history, which makes sense to me. And so, in the 90 years of celebrating black history, I'll be honest, I've seen a whole bunch of progress from the standpoint that we don't need to be reminded of our history. We have a solid foundation. If it wasn't in the 1600s when the first slaves were brought over here, it surely, we definitely have a solid foundation. But I would rather see us do away with Black History Month and focus on Black August. Now, Black August uh, was developed in the California prison system, as I learned, and it was a freedom fighter uh, who came up with it after the death of a prisoner by the name of George Jackson. Now, when I say death, depending on who you believe, San Quentin prison or an autopsy, it was murder or a prison escapee uh, issue. Of course, I don't believe the prison uh, story. It doesn't make sense. The autopsy said he was shot in the back. And even if he was running, uh, they said he was shot from the tower. Well, that must have been one real interesting bullet that came from down in his front where the tower was, because it was in front of where he was running. And then the bullet just missed its target and realized, not a ricochet, and realized, oh, there's our man, and turned around and shot him in the back. That's, you know, as logical as the prison story that was told. But who was George Jackson? Smart man, a little bit on the, well, a lot on the militant side, but he just fought for the rights of black people. And when the people came together to form this Black August, it did have something to do with a failed, what is it? Sorry. A failed hostage situation in Marin County, where some people were, three black men were on trial for a prison riot where I think some guards were murdered. And I'm not trying to act like I know all of the story here. I'm just getting somewhere else. The issue was is a judge ended up dead, and the brother of George Jackson, Jonathan Jackson, was the one who, you know, came into the courthouse when these three men were on trial, gave them all guns, and they took hostages. Judge was killed. Two of the prisoners on trial were killed. And, of course, this Jonathan Jackson, George's brother, died in the incident. And so, in listening to a tape of the mother of George and Jonathan Jackson, the interviewer asked, why do you think Jonathan Jackson barged into that courthouse to set these, to take these hostages in an attempt to get his brother, who was in San Quentin prison, free? And she simply said she believed it was out of love. Now, we've all heard that if you love somebody, you might do some dumb things, and you're not going to get me to sign on to taking hostages to release a prisoner. I thought it was a dumb idea. But I 100% buy the fact that this was done out of love. Well, fast forward to all of the celebration of Black August, the people who came up with commemorating this month in honor of all those who died, and of course it was George Jackson, I think, died on August 7th, and I think that the hostage issue where his brother died was also in August, but there was a lot of events in August historically that it just made sense. The prisoners were wearing black bands in the month of August, and they had some strict rules on how they were going to commemorate, the month for self-discipline, and all kind of things in honor of those who really died for all black folks. And to think that, well, this is better than black history. I would prefer to give honor to those who fought to where I had a better chance than just remembering all of the history. And let's face it, when white America decides to celebrate black history, they'll do something like what I was told happened when I used to be a Bible study teacher in the San Francisco Juvenile Hall. There was 24 black kids and one white kid in the area where I taught the Bible. It was February, and they decided to have a Black History type event. What did they show? They showed the history of white police officers sicking dogs on black people and fire hosing them and the lynchings and stuff like that. They showed that as part of Black History Month. Well, I got to speak with a very frightened white kid the following day. And what it was is all the blacks in there started looking at this one white kid as, we gonna get you. As if this 17-year-old kid had anything to do with what happened in 1950. And so it is my personal opinion that black history has been told the wrong way for so long. You don't learn of the great historical things that black people have done to contribute to American society. You only see dogs being sicked on, and fire hoses, and lynchings. And I'm saying that it was so bad and so ingrained, I think that we need to move on from that. Now, Black August had to do with, what started based on something that was more radical than my taste. But the fact that I am profoundly appreciative of the black people who fought for my rights, and they end up taking a bullet, died under mysterious circumstances, and I mean their houses were firebombed. I mean all of these things. And so to commemorate, Black August is more fitting than the distorted Black History type celebrations. Sure, have Black history over the years improved? Yeah, but it's still, I'm no fan. Anyway, far as Black August is concerned, the things that they were talking about that we should do to reflect, to really just sit back and, well, wait a minute, what can we do? How can we show our appreciation for all those who have done something to help us along? And I mean, the list is long. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X. I mean, the list is so long. But then you do have your George Jacksons. And he was described as a violent man. But when they posed the question to his mother, and I mean, she was very soft spoken. And she says, I could be violent too. I like the way she said that. Because the thing is, and she said that the interviewer, she said, you can be violent too. And it was like, okay, we all have a degree of violence in us. Well, what gets us riled up? Well, in George Jackson's situation, it was how white America was treating his black brothers and sisters. And sure, he got riled up. Now, the point of my Angelic Troublemakers program is the fact that I believe that today we don't have to be militant. We have social media at our fingertips, and we can organize and move in a way that we don't have to be in the streets protesting, overturning cars. I believe social change can happen without the violence, the protesting, and all these demonstrations and all of the ugliness that comes with the old style of protest. And for me to be coming to an end to my programming here on SF Commons, another couple of weeks, I cannot thank SF Commons and BABAC enough for the opportunity to share with you all what I believe is a better way to handle things. It's been 2 years, and my whole thing was betterment for black people. And how I believe that we can act in such a way that we will get the respect. Now, just because I will be leaving this program, it will be ending at the end of this month. Don't worry, no way in the world am I going to give up on what I believe is a better way to show America that black people will be respected. I believe that God Almighty is going to help me get the message across. And I am grateful for the opportunity that I believe that God set the groundwork in just the 2 years that I've been on this program. But, I definitely have learned an awful lot about certain things that I'm proud to say black people, you really are doing a good job. But, we need to concentrate more on the fact that, hey, there are some things that if we just open a book, we're going to learn an awful lot more and be inspired to help in one way or another. Now, I learned after we just heard of the death of the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, that she offered up to $200,000 in bail money for one of the freedom fighters, Angela Davis, in this prison, in this Marin County trial where these Jonathan Jackson and a few others got a hold of guns and tried to hold this judge and jurors hostage. Well, they traced the guns. Angela Davis bought the guns. And so she was on trial for it. Now, the fact that Aretha Franklin knew of Angela Davis and what she tried to do for black people, she says that, hey, I'm not worried about Angela Davis's political stance. Angela Davis is said to have been a communist. She says, I see she wanted to set black people free. And for that, what I see, I'm willing to put up my money to set her free. Just as simple as that. She didn't get into all of the politics and stuff like that. You know, how people do go about doing something is one thing. And though I'm not into the, you know, the violence, hey, back then, that's the way things were done. And the fact that I just learned yesterday that Aretha Franklin, you know, the beautiful voice that she was, hey, she was willing to put her money where her mouth was also. And so, you know, it does my heart good to know, you know, that there is an awful lot of people who can and do, you know, for their own in the black community. Right now, I am continually fighting an issue, and I've posted something on my website dealing with the Golden State Warriors arena project that's going on here in San Francisco. It's a black thing. I don't like the way San Francisco has dealt with the Warriors coming over here. It was a covetous, racist, and greedy attempt to make San Francisco look better at the expense of Oakland, California. And it's something that I just refuse to just allow to happen. And I hope that I get a little respect here in the month of August for my efforts, because I see it as a perfect setting for Black August, because it will let those who started this movement, who are dead and gone now, know that there are some people who profoundly appreciated all of the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that people have sacrificed, you know, in an effort for me to be able to speak freely. I have a saying that is my own, and it's on the bottom of all my emails. If you receive an email from me, my reply will have at the bottom, the only thing I love more than justice is the freedom to fight for it. And that justice and that freedom, I can only get in America. America definitely has its problems, but I don't forget the fact that it is here that I'm free to express my objections when I see America is out of line. And I'm saying that it is definitely what motivates me to want to better the community, not only in San Francisco, my home, but if I see you doing something in Oakland, and I don't like it because it profoundly negatively affects black people there, I'm going to speak up. Just as George Jackson did. He didn't speak up just for his own situation. He saw something affecting blacks everywhere. And so I honestly believe that in God's time, everything's going to be all right. I really believe that. But in this short time, I'm saying, oh, please, Lord, let it be in August. Because I read the list of things that the originators of Black August came up with, and I'd like to see another August date for victory, if you will, you know, to have people understand, hey, this is important if we are ever going to get up over the hill. And I'm saying the only way we're going to get up over the hill is if black people are respected. And what I am doing, I'm saying is I believe that the stopping of the Golden State Warriors move from Oakland to San Francisco is going to propel the respect that black people will build on, to let them know, to let America know we will be respected. And when I say that we will be respected, hey, I may be off. It might be August of next year. But I'm letting you all know I'm not giving up. You know, there's no way in the world that as long as I have lived, and quite honestly, I've really enjoyed life. Do I have my struggles like everybody else? Of course. But the fact of the matter is I really have enjoyed my time here on earth. And I am not going to allow the people who came before me, who made it easier for me, just rest on the fact that, oh, well, I made it, that's that. There's some people who are like that. No, I want to help out young blacks who are struggling today. And they're struggling today because they are not respected. And when you look at all of the police being called by white citizens on black citizens for some of the frivolous, silly things, it's just a matter of black people are not respected. And I'm saying we need to be respected. Now, don't get me wrong. I also have a saying that I like to show people more respect than they deserve, because that way I'll stay above all of the nonsense. I believe that. And so in saying that, I'm saying that sure, there is something that we black folks can do to, as the Staple Singers said, respect yourself. And Aretha Franklin, RESPECT, you know, we all need to learn to respect ourselves better. And in closing, I'll say, I was in a restaurant this week. 2 people in the restaurant, me and another black lady. The woman was speaking so loud. She didn't respect herself. I don't know where that comes from.